For this fifth technique, what I'm going to ask you to do is change the color of the laces and the soles of the running shoes here, and even the detail on here. Everything that's orange, I want you to change the color of it. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. So first, what we have to do is select everything that's orange. And if you zoom in here and you see all the little detail, you're probably thinking, well, that's going to take me forever. And it's not really. What we're going to do, I'll show you a quick way to do it. We're going to go back and use the magic wand tool that we've used before. And we used this on the last assignment. And what this will do is, currently I have this set at tolerance of 25. If I click on the orange here, it's going to get me some of the orange, but you can see the tolerance isn't great enough that it's not getting the shadow or darker shades of orange in here. So what you're going to need to do is change this tolerance up here. Let's try 100 and see how that is here. So now when I click it, now you can see you're getting most of the orange in here. Now this isn't going to be perfect. You'll probably have to do a little touch up, but this is going to be a lot faster than having to do this by hand. I think I'm actually going to boost my tolerance up even a little bit more. Let's say 110%. And now I'm going to select this area here. And like I said, we'll have to go back and touch this up a little bit. But here's the deal. Once you have this range of oranges selected, you can come up here in the selection drop-down menu. And down about 2/3 of the way, you'll see similar. And when you select this, Photoshop will find every matching orange that's in here, every stitch, every lace, everything in here. And it will make it part of the selection. So I'm going to select that. And now you can see it got all the stitching, it got all the laces up here. Now it's not going to be perfect, but I'll show you how you can fine-tune this a little bit once we've changed the color in it. What I would really recommend doing once you've made the selection, so we always have it, come up here and you want to go ahead and save the selection here. So we'll go ahead and call this orange detail, or you can call it whatever you want on here. That way we always have the selection. If we need to, we can go back and refer to it. So now that you have the selection, let's talk about changing the. So now that we have the selection made, I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can change the color. One is through an adjustment layer. And we've done this before. I've shown you where the adjustment layer is. You can use this image drop-down menu. Here are all these adjustments that you can do to affect the image. And you have all those adjustments down here in your layers panel. They're located down here. This allows you to do all those adjustments as a separate layer as opposed to affecting the photo directly in here. So if I click on here, you can see all those same adjustments are available down here. The importance of doing all these adjustments as layers is you're not affecting the photo underneath. And again, this is also, if you have a client and they change their mind, if you have not affected the underlying image, then it makes making changes that much easier. If you've actually adjusted and changed the underlying photo, it's going to be a problem. Now, I could just do an adjustment layer here, but what I want to do is I want to make sure that the adjustment is locked to only this layer. So I want to get you in the habit of doing this. Now we're only dealing with a single image here, but if I have multiple layers on here and I want to do effects to only particular layers, this is a good habit to get into. So instead of just selecting an adjustment layer here, which is going to affect the shoes, but if I have any other images underneath it, it's going to affect them as well. So I only want this to affect this one layer. So before I select my adjustment layer, I'm going to hold the Option key down. Now I'm going to come over here, and for this we're going to use hue and saturation. And you'll get this dialog box, and what this is saying is, do you want this to only affect this particular layer? That's what it means by using the previous layer, because it's going to be underneath, as a clipping mask. Always make sure you check that and hit OK. And once you do that, you can see it's added an adjustment layer here with a mask, and that will give us something to work with. And what I'm doing is I am periodically saving this file here because I've had Photoshop crash on me a couple times. So if you see that pop up, that's what's happening. Anyhow, I have an adjustment layer here. It's the hue and saturation. Because I had it selected, it has gone ahead and made a mask for me on here. So whatever effect I do, it's only going to affect that orange color in here. And the way it works is, with hue and saturation, you'll get these dividers here, or these sliders here. And I'll pull this off so you can see it a little bit better. So what can you do with these sliders? Well, with that selection, I can go and make changes to the color here by adjusting the sliders on here. You can also adjust how vibrant it is by adjusting the hue and saturation. Let me find a color where you can really find it here. So yeah, so I can make this very, very vibrant. Or if I go the other way and take all the color out, you can see it's a very grayed version of that. So I'm going to keep it pretty vibrant. Let's go ahead and I'm going to change it. I keep using that green color. Let's choose something a little bit different. Why don't we go to... we'll go ahead and go with the kind of magenta on here. So now you've gone ahead and changed the color. Like I said, this is one way you can do it. Let me go ahead and nest this back in here again. So what you'll notice in here, your mask is probably not perfect. And so what you can do is you can clean this up a little bit. So here it's a little off. And remember, this is what your mask looks like. So you can clean it up by painting with either black or white in here. So I'm going to go back to black and white here. I'm going to choose a much smaller brush in here. And so if you wanted to, let me make sure this is set on normal. This is set at 100%. So what you can do is come in here and adjust this. So I'm just painting with white to get some of the color in there. And you can see maybe somewhere you selected something you didn't intend to select in here. And I'm going around. Here it's a little funky. We'll clean that up a little bit. So I'm just spinning around my image here and seeing where I need to clean this up. Now, for time's sake here, if you look at the mask, it's pretty chunky in here. And, you know, if this was for a real job, I would probably take the time to go in here and clean this up a little bit. So you can see whenever you select with the magic wand, you're going to get a pretty pixelated edge on here, but it'll also maybe show you where you need to add some color in here. If you want to look at your mask, what you do is you hold the Option key down and click on the mask. If you want to go back, you just click on the adjustment layer again. If you want to look at the mask, hold that Option key down and click on it. And again, if this was for a real job, I would probably take the time and go and clean that up. But for this assignment, that's all I'm asking you to do. So again, you want to save this two ways as your master file. I'm going to do Save As, and I'm going to find my Photoshop document file here. And we can call this, you can call it Shoes or Color Shoes or ColorChange, whatever you want. But as long as you have this layered file, if your client comes back and says, you know what, I don't like that kind of magenta color, can you change the color? As long as you have your layered file, you can always go back and change it and resave it, all right? So let's say he wants it red instead, or maybe we take it to blue. And I didn't mention this, but you can also change the color or the darkness or lightness of your color as well. So if you want to change the color, again, probably should clean this up a little bit, but anyhow, whenever you get it the way you want it, you can go ahead and save that off. I'm going to go back to what I had here by using the history palette up here. So this is what I saved as my working file. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save that file that you're going to go, oh, we have to put it in the 6x9 format. Totally forgot about that. So let's go ahead, create that 6x9 format. Here's your shoes. what I'm going to do, same as I've done on the other ones, I'm going to tear this off so I have it. I'm just going to drag this into the format. But this time what you need to do is we need to not just drag the shoes. If I just drag the shoes, it didn't take the mask with it. So what you need to do, or the color mask with it, before you drag this off, select the shoes, select the shoes, select this layer, and then once you have them both selected, drag this off, and now you'll have them both. So here's my background, and here's my shoes. Again, you can go ahead and adjust the size on this however you want, and you'll notice the mask and everything will adjust the size with it. So imagine this is a box for the shoes, and say it's the lid, the top of the box of the shoes. So go ahead and size this however you think looks appropriate. You can crop it however you want in there. Obviously, if this was shoe packaging, you'd probably want to show the detail on here. So I'm going to crop it this way so I show, so I go ahead and show all of one of the shoes here. Now what we're going to do is save your working file on here. So again, I'm in the PSD here. Let's go ahead. Man, it's taken me a while to get used to this new interface. All right, color shoes. I guess I should spell that correctly. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and replace the one I already had. Up. Let me close my original one here. Let's try this again. All right, now what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and I'm going to save it over the one I just did. Go ahead and hit save. Yes, I'll go ahead and replace it. Hit OK. Now you want to save the image for your working file here. So the 3 steps, you need to flatten it first. Then you need to change the color from RGB into CMYK. Now this magenta color is a color that may shift. So let's take a look. It's warning me the color may shift. Again, you can see that's a pretty drastic difference. So if you're not happy with that, you might want to go back and change the color to something that's not going to shift. Those kind of pastel bright colors really have a hard time in the transition between the RGB and CMYK. But I'm going to go ahead for time's sake here, save this as my TIFF that's going to go in my document. Make sure you change the file format, and then you'll be done with this one. All right, so on to the pattern.